Hello everybody and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn and in this video we're going to do another writing check. Again, we have an IELTS Writing Task 2 essay. As always, we start by analysing the question, reading the question very carefully and analysing what we need to do and also thinking about our structure. Okay, so in the future, not now, but in the future, nobody at all, almost nobody, will buy printed newspapers or books. So they will go obsolete. Just like nowadays, nobody buys cassettes, nobody buys VHS. In general, nobody buys those things anymore. They are not used. Why? Because they will be able to, they will be able to read everything they want online without paying. So not just online, but also for free. Online without paying for free. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this? So to what extent do you agree? You can completely agree, you can mostly agree, you can partially agree, you can mostly disagree, you can completely disagree. There is a range. Again, I am one of those people who loves keeping things as simple as possible. Choose one, agree or disagree. I think it's the easiest way to approach this task. Just choose, yes, this will happen, no, this won't happen, and explain why. Okay. So, thinking of a structure in the introduction, I like background information, something about, people's reading habits. Some reference to the question there about this prediction that in the future printed newspapers and books won't be for sale because everyone will use them. Everyone will get their news and read their things online for free. So some reference to that question, and also in the introduction, I want to know the candidate's position. I need to know if the candidate agrees, disagrees, partially agrees. I need to know that in the introduction. So if the candidate, for example, agrees with this prediction, body paragraph 1 will be some reasons why this will happen. Body paragraph 2 will be more reasons why this will happen. I think you can just pick two reasons here. Body paragraph 1, reason 1. Body paragraph 2, reason 2. And then you have full developmental opportunities. Conclusion should be a summary of the candidate's ideas, the reasons why it will or won't happen, and then probably maybe even include the candidate's opinion on this, whether the candidate thinks this will be a good thing or a bad thing, or some other kind of reflective comment in the conclusion. Let's have a look at the candidate's writing. Let's see if we get this in the introduction first of all. So, in the future. Okay, we get in the future. It's not a big deal, but okay. In the future, the popularity of printed materials, love this. Very nice start. The popularity of printed materials, newspapers and books, good, such as newspapers or books, nice, will decrease dramatically. Okay, nobody will buy them, will decrease dramatically. Okay, since many people will be able to access those freely in online platforms, maybe on online platforms, through online platforms, using online platforms. So this is a very direct paraphrase. I am one of those people who likes background, like original background information about the subject. You don't necessarily have to include it. I just think this is a good thing for all essays, not just a direct paraphrase like this candidate has, which is a 100% direct paraphrase. I like to have background information about the subject. Something like nowadays there are those who, or in the past, people always used printed materials to get their news or to read. But nowadays there are more and more people who are using online platforms. Some people believe that in future everyone will use online platforms, right? So I like a bit of background information before I attack the question. But okay, the paraphrase is suitable. Language is okay here. Whilst, nice, nice, nice. Always a big fan of whilst and whomst. Whilst ebooks and online newspapers are more convenient to access, cool, I firmly believe that individuals will not abandon reading printed materials owing to copyright law. Okay. So I like this. I firmly believe that individuals will not abandon reading printing materials. Cool. I don't like this owing to copyright law. I don't want to know your reasons in the introduction. I want to know your position. I want to know if you agree or disagree with this prediction, but I don't need to know your reasons yet. Keep your reasons for the body paragraph, so just not, don't love this. And it seems strange, copyright law, because now you're setting up the essay like you have to speak about copyright law for all of your body paragraphs. So, yeah. Okay. The primary reason for the mentioned situation, okay, good, very, very well-controlled language. The primary reason for the mentioned situation is that not every content will be available for free in the future. So every content sounds strange here. Every we use with countable nouns. Every person, every item, every telephone, every cup, but every plus uncountable noun, it's just strange. Not every content will be available, not all content will be available for free in the future. In other words, we don't need this. I mean, in other words is good. It's good, cohesive language. But do we really need to explain what we mean when we say that not everything will be available for free? So we use this in other words when we have quite a complicated idea that needs to be explained better. You don't have a complicated idea. This is a very simple idea, and so you don't need to use in other words. There's no reason to explain more. But okay, in other words, currently ebooks and online articles have copyright law and subscription fees, which I love this comma which means, very nice, which means that readers should pay, not should pay, they have to pay. Readers have to pay to have access to its content. Don't know what IELTS is talking about here. What is IELTS referring to? I'm just not quite sure about this reference item. Okay, for example, Medium, an online website for science articles. So this is very good development. We get examples now that helps the reader to become more and more informed. For example, Medium, an online website for science articles, is a platform with subscription fees, and readers must pay a certain amount to read articles. Okay, thus, nice. If this trend continues in the future, people not cannot, but perhaps will not be able to. Cannot just feels too presenty here. In the future, people will not be able to read everything they want online without paying. Just have a typo with without. You should check your work for typos. I'm sure you can find this typo without. I'm sure you know how to write with, and I'm sure you know how to write out. Furthermore, even more signposting language, very nice development. In the future, governments might enforce, so good hedging language, might enforce, good, might enforce a law to strictly regulate the copyright. Maybe prefer to regulate the copyright strictly. I'm not a big fan of splitting these infinitives, but it's okay. It's not a big problem. A lot of people split their infinitives. To enforce a law to strictly regulate the copyright, which means they might fine. Okay, but that's not regulating the copyright. So it's not regulating the copyright, it's enforcing the copyright, not regulating. So regulate is the wrong word here. Which means, again, we get a comma, which means. Now that's just the second time that it's been used in quick succession, because we had a which means here, and now we have another which means here. Not a big problem, but just be careful with repetition of constructions. Make that green. Okay. Which means they the government, I guess, might fine people who break the law heavily. I don't know what it means to break the law heavily. You can fine people heavily, might fine heavily people who break the law. Might fine people who break the law heavily. So this heavily connects with fine. It's okay, that's fine. They might fine people who break the law heavily. Cool. Okay, so what? Well, okay, never mind. Consequently, good, so we keep adding and developing more and more and more. Very nice. Consequently, people not only will be more cautious, there's a spelling mistake here. Of course, it should be written like this. People not only will be more cautious. I think there is a more impressive construction here. Not only will people be more cautious, that would get you even more points for grammar. But okay, people not only will be more cautious about downloading online materials for free, but also, so cool, we get this not only, which is here, but also linking to this, but also. Very sophisticated. But also they will try to purchase books and newspapers. Okay. Consequently, people not only will be more cautious about downloading online materials for free, but also they will try to purchase books. Why? I don't see necessarily, so I don't see necessarily why people would buy printed materials if there's copyright law. Why wouldn't they just pay and download? So I agree that they might be cautious, and I agree, but for me, I would think, well, okay, if they're cautious, they'll just make sure that they pay for those downloaded online materials. I don't see the connection that just because there is enforced strong copyright laws, people will then not use online things. They will only use, or they will choose to use printed things instead. So that's just a slight problem with the idea. But first body paragraph, amazing. Very strong stuff. Admittedly, okay. Admittedly, it is true that online books and magazines are easily available. Yeah, but this is a topic sentence. Really, I wanted to connect more closely to the question. But okay, admittedly, it is true that online books and magazines are easily available. Yes, people used to carry out, not carry out. Carry out means like to do research or to do an investigation. People used to carry heavy, thick novels. Should be a comma there, heavy, or maybe an and, heavy and thick novels, or just heavy novels or thick novels. Namely the Harry Potter. It seems like just a strange example here. People used to carry out heavy, thick novels, namely the Harry Potter series. Is it really? I don't know if that's namely. Yeah, I don't know. Seems like a strange choice. You could say, for example, Harry Potter series or Lord of the Rings, maybe. Anyway, in order to access them wherever, spelling mistake, 2 E's here, we don't need those 2 E's. And again, you're talking about the past, people used to carry, so wherever they wanted. So we have to make sure that sequence of tenses follows. They used to carry so that they could read them, or in order to access them wherever they wanted in the past. However, good signposting language. Nowadays, good signposting language, they can have various novels or newspapers in their pocket. Good. Nevertheless, why do we have a capital letter here after a comma? Nevertheless, these materials are not guaranteed. Spelling mistake, guaranteed. But okay. However, nevertheless, these materials are not guaranteed to be free. Thereby, not everyone wants to own them. Something not being free doesn't affect whether somebody wants to own them or not. We want to own something simply because we want it, or because there are good reasons to have it, but the price may stop us from buying it, but it doesn't stop us from wanting to own them. So that idea is just a little bit little bit strange too. In conclusion, good signposting language. Although ebooks and online newspapers are becoming more prevalent, beautiful, 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 and popular, okay, due to the advancement of technology, I strongly believe that printed materials will not fade away. Okay, fade away. Maybe not sure if this phrasal verb is perfectly suitable for an academic text, but it's good that the candidate knows them because of the copyright law. Because of copyright law, 0 article here. Maybe it's a bit too specific, and maybe we want a bit of a summary, just a bit more of a summary in the conclusion, perhaps, because copyright law will make people blah, blah, blah. So we've just had because of the copyright law, but that's not a full summary of the position. But in general, a very, very strong essay. A very strong essay. Task response, 8. So, I'm very, very informed on the person's position. There are just a couple of things that I feel like, well, explain that to me. Like the books and newspapers, why they will stop using them just because there's like more copyright law. Well, they could just buy them online. So I'm not sure that I'm fully informed. There are just a couple of things that I want to ask the candidate about, like, well, what about this? So task response 8, you deal with the question very, very well. You stay on topic. You develop your ideas very, very nicely. Coherence and cohesion. Again, I think we can award the 8. Lots of good signposting language. Such nice logical development. Like we get, like in this paragraph, we get an idea, then in other words, da 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 da, which means da 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 da. Then we get an example, for example, da 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 da. Then we get addition, furthermore, da 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 da. An explanation, which means da 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 da. Consequently, the result of this, da 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 da. The logic here is just perfect. There are just a few strange reference words, like ebooks and online articles have copyright law and subscription fees, which means that readers should pay to have access to its content. The content of the ebooks and the online articles, of course. Sorry, that's my problem. Now it makes sense. Cool. So I don't like this namely. This one is a bit strange. Namely is like when we give the most noticeable example or the most obvious example or the primary example. And I really don't know if it's true that the Harry Potter series or Lord of the Rings qualify as like that's the book that most people carried around, because there are many, many, many different books. You know, maybe the Bible, maybe you could mention, but I wouldn't use a namely here. I'd use a for example. I'm not sure about this thereby. And when you say thereby, I'm not quite sure that this works. So just a couple of slight issues, but paragraph structure fine, logical flow fine. 8 is very, very strong. Don't be sad if you don't get the 9. Lexical resource. Again, I think there's enough for an 8. A lot of good stuff. Copyright law. Get regulate, which is the wrong word because we want enforce here. So that's a bit strange. We get a couple of spelling mistakes. Without, guaranteed, cautious. So for me, that's enough immediately to say probably not the 9. I don't like this heavy, thick novels either. It's just doesn't feel precise. It doesn't feel very natural. But we do get a lot of good topic-related language. An online website feels a bit like tautological. All websites are online, so we don't need to use this word online website. Online platform, online media publisher or something. Okay, science articles, platform, subscription fees, a certain amount, if this trend continues. Strictly regulate, enforce a law, downloading online materials, admittedly, a lot of very, very positive language. So I think enough for the 8. Grammatical range and accuracy, I think this is the only slightly weakest one where I think it's a 7. There is a variety of sentence types, no problem with that. A good, decent variety of structures, like this comma which stuff, which is used a couple of times, but okay, but twice is fine. This not only will, you could have activated more advanced grammar with inversion. Not only will people be more cautious, so that would have been nice. But I like this not only but also. That's good. Okay, just looking for a bit more variety. Just want to see how much variety there is. I mean, I think there's enough for a 7. Grammatical control is good. A couple of small problems with articles like the copyright law. Okay. Also, candidate used cannot, and I just prefer will not be able to because we're making predictions about the future. This cannot feels a little bit presenty. Every content instead of like all content, because every should be used with a countable noun. So that's a small grammatical slip. Just want to see do we have any passive or infinitives or gerunds or things like this. Okay, good use of adverbs, used to carry, talking about the past, good in order to access, good. Get subordination starting with although, which is a very natural way to introduce a contrast. Maybe there could be more of a range, actually. The range is not bad, but maybe if I think about some of the grammar that I think about in the contents to like a B2 book or a C1 book, there's not much of it here, but the grammar is very well controlled. I think there is enough for a 7. Those kind of little mistakes with articles, little mistakes with the cannot, but really a wider range of grammar constructions could just push it a little bit higher. You know, think about passives, gerunds, subjunctive clauses, things like this. But okay, nothing to worry about. Everything is at the C1 level. So the overall mark is 7.5, which is very, very strong. I know candidates often think like, well, why not the 9? Getting a 9 in writing is incredibly difficult. My only bit of advice for the candidate here, apart from, yeah, I think the ideas are fine, even though I have a couple of small problems with the ideas, very minor problems. My advice is just about grammatical range and accuracy. Again, just think about or get access to like a course, a C1 course book or a B2 course book. Check out the grammar that is taught there and think about ways that perhaps you could activate just a wider range of grammatical constructions. But in general, very, very strong. 7.5, C1, great stuff, amazing. And maybe it feels, the impression is that it feels like an 8. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if an examiner gave the candidate 8 for grammatical range and accuracy. So I wouldn't be surprised if it got an 8, but for me, it's maybe just 7.5. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that breakdown of this candidate's writing. If you'd like your own writing check or your own mock speaking test with feedback, you can request this on my Telegram channel. A link to the Telegram channel is given below. Basically, every week I write a message saying who wants a speaking test or who wants a writing check. Candidates then just reply with any message, me, I'm interested, I would like to do this. Great. Every week then 3 candidates for writing and 3 candidates for speaking are selected at random. So it's completely random. You put your name in there. It's like a lottery. 3 random people are selected, lucky winners, but this happens every week. So if you're interested in this, join the Telegram, leave the comment, and somebody has to win. But I'll leave it there for now. More videos coming. I think even 2 more videos coming today. But have a wonderful day. See you soon. Bye-bye.